Hello and welcome to this presentation. In this presentation, we're going to talk about how to set up a benchmark for trading and why having one is so important. I do need to start with this disclaimer though. The following presentation is not financial advice. I believe a person should know that all trading carries the potential of losses. A person should only trade with funds they can afford to lose. Only patient people should trade. Spot trading, which is what we do, is simple, so we don't want to complicate it, and robots follow instructions, so we really just need to make sure our instructions are clear. So, benchmarking. What is it and why is it so important to our success as traders? A benchmark may be defined as a standard or a point of reference against which things may be compared and by which something can be measured or judged. Benchmarking and setting benchmarks occurs all over the world in all different walks of life. And I just want to give a couple of examples so you start to get a feel of what it is and why it's so important. Now, we first probably encountered a benchmark when we were at school. And I remember when I was at school, we used to have to do practice evacuations from our classroom. And what that was done for was so the school could see, could they get all the children out of the school in an efficient and timely manner? Could they do it where there was nobody left behind? Could they do it where all of the things that needed to be in place if the real event ever occurred were actually in place and ready to go? We did the same thing when we went to work. Every job site that I ever went to, one of the induction things that we had to do was know what to do if the real event of an emergency or something catastrophic or significant was to happen, where the assembly points were and what had to be done. Obviously, this is an obvious one that if someone was doing a stage show, a rehearsal is setting a benchmark. It is seeing whether everything is in place. Are all the props right? Is the lighting right? Is the music right? Are the people standing in the right place on the stage? It's so the producer, the director of the play can see before the real event occurs that everything is working. I think you're starting to get the drift of what I'm getting to. The military and also first responders go through many training programs. I know when I was in the Army, we did many scenario training exercises. So when the real event ever occurred, we were ready. We knew where we had to be. We knew what equipment we needed. We knew what information was needed. We knew everything before the main event occurred. And obviously in business, in trading, the most obvious benchmark that people will work against is the S&P 500, a very well-established benchmark for trading returns. In business, benchmarking is used because benchmarking improves performance. It helps companies meet standards, particularly quality standards. It helps companies meet expectations. And it also is used to facilitate innovation. So benchmarking, we're involved with benchmarking virtually our entire lives. So why is this so important to a person who wants to trade crypto pairs? Well, this particular gentleman talks about this, why a personal one is important, because in trading, one size doesn't fit all. What one person does may be good for them, but another person may need to do something different. And he makes the point that you must recognize and embrace yours or mine, unique trading style, our risk tolerance, and our preferences. Remember, it is not about following the crowd. It's about crafting a path tailored to suit yours or my strengths and goals. And the only way that that is achievable on an individual level is that we must all have our own benchmark. So we're going to look at how one is created corporately, and so how we can scale that down to create one on an individual basis. So how to set a personal trading benchmark, which will be referred to as a PTB. So the first stage is the initiation. Now, what we need to do is we need to get our trading notebook, because we're going to create our PTB doing paper trading. And this is important because paper trading has no financial outlays attached to it. It gives us a chance to practice, to rehearse, to test, review all of the facets that we need to know and do before we start doing real trading. So what we need to do is, after watching the TG strategy video, and probably watch it more than once, but watch it until you feel that you really grasp what that strategy is all about. And then you need to do the following, because now we move into the gathering of the data. So on a sheet of paper, remember we're paper trading, so this doesn't happen in your exchange, this happens in your trading notebook. We're going to execute 25 trades, and they need to be executed within a time frame that you pick for your personal trading. So you write down your token, you write down the entry price, and you write down the time that that trade was entered. Then you write down your desired profit, your take profit that you want to take from that trade. And in this case, it's the TG strategy that we're using. But if you start to develop and grow and use other strategies, then you will need to create a PTB for those particular strategies. And I do that all the time to test before I start doing them for real, to test that I actually understand the strategy that I'm going to use. So we're talking about the TG strategy. And then you write down, once your trade has either executed or the time that you allotted for that trade has expired. This is the information needed to assess how well you understand the TG strategy. And I did this while I was making this presentation. I did this myself so I could prepare this as an example. Now, I don't write it in my notebook. I have it on an Excel spreadsheet, and I don't write down the dates and the times. I just have all the days of the week color-coded, but I understand what it is that I'm trying to achieve. But you need to create something that's going to look like this. Now we move from the gathering of data to the analysis of data. Your benchmark is set once you successfully complete 25 trades with a success rate of 80%. So this is what, when we do our analysis, this is what we're looking for. And success is defined as your trades taking your desired profit within your specified time. So let's look at the data analysis of mine. I entered 25 trades. By the time the 25th trade that I entered had completed, I had completed 24. So I got a success rate there of 96%. So that's abundantly clear to me that I understand the particular strategy that I was using to create that result. Now, after your first 25 trades, if you find that instead of being at that, you can see that 80%, that dotted line, if you find that if instead of being there, you're below that line, then what you need to do is you need to start to adjust either your token selection, your ROIs, your profit level that you're wanting to do, or even the time frames that you're electing to have your trades complete over, until, and you keep adjusting this until you get 25 trades and they are at or greater than the 80%. Remembering all the time that this is about you. Now, you can fudge these figures if you want to, but if you're fudging figures in a training exercise, what is it that you're actually learning when you get to doing it in real time? It's so important that if you have to do this a couple of times, you don't have to do 25 brand new trades. All you need to have is in a consecutive run, 25 trades with an 80% success rate. In achieving this, that will demonstrate that you are actually educated in token selection. So you've actually selected the correct tokens from the gainer list. In strategy selection, okay, in this particular case, it's the TG strategy, that you have got the correct realistic understanding of what profits are available to be taken at a given time in a market experience. That you have also realistic expectations of what the market capacity is at any given time, and that you've got your margin call set right, your cash flow management is spot on. When you're there and you've got your 80% and you've got your 25 trades, then this is actually your benchmark. And now you are ready to go trading with money. Napoleon Hill makes this interesting little analogy: a rudderless ship and a purposeless person. That's a bit of a mouthful, but a person with no purpose are eventually stranded, and he makes it on the desert sand. But benchmarking and a benchmark actually creates purpose. Firstly, in establishing it. And it's pretty exciting as you get closer and closer, and eventually you get to your benchmark with 25 trades at 80%. That's pretty exciting. Secondly, the purpose is in maintaining it. And that is also exciting when you start to do it with money and you close in on that benchmark, and then you get to it. And thirdly, in surpassing it, because what happens with trading and what we're going to do, and the whole purpose of education and further development, is to continually challenge that benchmark to improve it and make it greater, and you lift yourself as you lift your benchmark. Now, just as an example, one of my benchmarks was dollars earned benchmark, and it took me 40 days to achieve the figure that I had set as my benchmark. It took me 36 days to double that, to go from 1x to 2x. Took me 32 days to go from 2 to 3, and 25 days to go from 3 to 4. And that's pretty exciting when you can see that as you're learning, as you're developing, you're getting better and better at things. It is very, very, very exciting. So benchmarking helps people set goals, as well as helps create the plans necessary by this tweaking that you do to achieve those goals. Wrapping this up as we get into this now, benchmarking improves our focus in trading. We become very, very focused in their entry points and our take profit points, and gathering news about the crypto world. We do get more focused on what we're doing. We certainly improves our expectations. We learn to have a realistic and correct expectation of what a token and what the market has capabilities of delivering. It certainly improves the excitement in trading, and if all of that is occurring, it improves how much money we're making. And that's another big excitement. We've all heard of this analogy of crawling before you can walk, and walking before you can run, and running and flying. Well, these are the steps, as I see them, with benchmarking, is that the first level is your paper trading, and you're actually setting your personal trading benchmark with the TG strategy. You then, as you begin to move down into that and you get some momentum, you maintain your personal trading benchmark while you're actually now doing it for real, where you're trading with real money. Then you really start to get into higher gears, and you're setting new personal trading benchmarks for the TG strategy. You're maybe starting to develop a new strategy, maybe even two, and you're also maybe starting to think about team building as well. So things start to really pick up. And then on the final level, you're in top gear, and you just continually keep setting new personal trading benchmarks, and things just naturally take off and flow. You probably then are also helping other people in your team select and set and achieve their personal trading benchmarks. Success in spot trading comes from improving yourself when you measure that improvement against yourself. If it's the way that you can measure your improvement is by having something set, your own benchmark set, that you can see you are growing against. And you have phenomenal resources within the RoyalQ community to help set, first of all, your initial benchmark, and then be able to improve from that initial position. Please get back to the person who showed you this video, work with them, work with that TG strategy, work with creating a benchmark, and then take it from there. And your trading career will start off in the best possible way.